What if I told you that one of the most advanced civilizations of the ancient world simply vanished? No epic battle recorded in detail, no heroic last stand, no single cataclysm everyone remembers. Just silence. The people who once shaped trade, language, and culture were erased so thoroughly that for centuries we didn't even know they existed. History books skim over them, archaeologists argue about them, and yet their fingerprints are all over the foundations of our world. This isn't Atlantis, it isn't El Dorado. This is the story of a real empire that disappeared from history, the Hittites. Now don't click away just because the name sounds unfamiliar. That's the point. You should know them, but you don't. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why that silence might be the biggest cover-up in history. So, hit subscribe if you love uncovering the myths, lies, and forgotten truths of the past. And tell me in the comments if you could resurrect one lost civilization for a single day. Which would you choose? All right, let's dive into a story history books never told you. 3,000 years ago, the Mediterranean and the Near East were crawling with civilizations we do know. Egypt with its pyramids, Mesopotamia with its ziggurats, Mycenaeans with their warrior kings. These are the stars of every textbook. But right in the middle of them was an empire powerful enough to challenge Egypt, rival Babylon, and terrify smaller kingdoms, the Hittites. Their capital, Hattusa, rose in the heart of Anatolia, modern-day Turkey. Massive stone walls snaked across hillsides. Lion and sphinx gates towered over travelers. Their kings boasted armies of chariots that thundered across battlefields. They weren't a minor kingdom, they were a superpower. And here's the shocking part. Until about 150 years ago, historians thought they were just a rumor. Ancient Egyptian records mentioned wars against the land of Hatti, but no one knew what that meant. The Bible dropped their name casually, but scholars dismissed it as myth. For centuries, the Hittites were ghosts in the footnotes of history. Then, in the late 19th century, archaeologists stumbled on ruins in Turkey, with massive archives of clay tablets written in a language no one had ever seen before. Thousands of tablets, treaties, myths, shopping lists, royal decrees. When deciphered, they revealed an empire so massive and sophisticated that it rewrote the map of the Bronze Age. History books had to catch up. Let's put this into perspective. You've probably heard of Ramses II, the great pharaoh of Egypt, the builder of Abu Simbel, the man called Ramses the Great. He fought his most famous battle, Kadesh, not against rebels or pirates, but against the Hittites. This battle was so big that both sides claimed victory. Ramses carved propaganda on temple walls saying he smashed the Hittites. The Hittites, in their own tablets, bragged they crushed the Egyptians. The truth? It was basically a draw. Imagine that. Egypt at its peak couldn't conquer them. And here's where things get wild. Out of that stalemate came the world's first known peace treaty, a literal Bronze Age contract between two superpowers. Copies of that treaty still survive today. In fact, a replica hangs on the wall at the United Nations. That's how advanced they were. So why aren't they in the history books next to Egypt and Mesopotamia? Why did this empire vanish from memory? The late Bronze Age was chaos. Trade networks stretched from Greece to Egypt to Mesopotamia, copper from Cyprus, tin from Afghanistan, luxury goods from everywhere. The system was global before global was a word. And then, around 1200 BCE, it all collapsed. Cities burned, palaces were abandoned. The so-called Sea People's mysterious raiders swept across the coasts, wrecking kingdoms. Egypt barely survived. Mycenaean Greece fell into a dark age. And the Hittite Empire? It disintegrated almost overnight. Their capital, Hattusa, was abandoned and forgotten. No dramatic last stand carved in stone, no single event recorded, just silence. An empire that rivaled Egypt evaporated, leaving only ruins and a scattering of survivors. It's like imagining Rome disappearing and everyone forgetting it ever existed. Here's where the conspiracy vibe creeps in. Why did history books erase them? Part of the answer is geography. Their ruins were buried in remote mountains of Anatolia, far from where 19th century explorers usually dug. Egypt had pyramids above ground. Mesopotamia had ziggurats and famous names. The Hittites, dusty hillsides with no glamour until the tablets were cracked, Another reason? Winners write history. Egypt survived, Babylon survived. The Hittites didn't. And when later cultures like the Greeks and Romans told their stories, the Hittites didn't make the cut. They were already forgotten. And maybe the strangest twist, their own writing system was lost. They used cuneiform and a unique hieroglyphic script, but when their empire collapsed, no one kept the tradition alive. The words of their kings sat unread for 3,000 years. Imagine having the Library of Congress buried underground and no one able to read English. That's what happened. But here's the part textbooks should scream about. The Hittites left fingerprints all over history. They perfected iron working centuries before it became mainstream. Their diplomacy, like that treaty with Egypt, laid foundations for international law. Their myths influenced Greek mythology. Some scholars argue stories of the storm god Tarhun shaped later ideas of Zeus. And here's a tiny but mind-blowing detail. In the ruins of Hattusa, archaeologists found detailed records of medical practices, spells mixed with practical remedies, rituals mixed with surgery. It is a glimpse into how ancient people merged myth and science, a theme that still echoes today. This wasn't just a lost empire. It was a civilization that helped shape the ancient world. So why am I telling you this? Because the silence around the Hittites teaches us something. History isn't fixed, it's fragile. What you learn in school is only part of the story. Empires rise, fall, and sometimes vanish so completely that even their memory is erased. Think about it. If the Hittites, who once signed treaties with Egypt and ruled an empire the size of modern-day Turkey and Syria, could be wiped from memory, what else have we lost? What civilizations left no tablets, no ruins, no evidence we've found yet? And here's the kicker. We live in an age where discoveries happen every year. A new tablet, a new tomb, a new artifact, and suddenly the story changes. History is less a book and more a puzzle with missing pieces. The truth history books never told you is this: the past is still being written. So the next time someone says history is settled, remember the Hittites, an empire erased for 3,000 years, now slowly clawing its way back into the narrative. And if one empire could vanish like that, how many other myths might turn out to be truths waiting in the dirt? Thanks for watching. Drop a comment had you ever even heard of the Hittites before this video. Do you think other mythical civilizations will turn out to be real? Don't forget to like and subscribe, because the next video might just rewrite everything you thought you knew.